gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages.
Hello there, everyone. Welcome back to another edition of the My 2 Cents podcast, presented by and hosted by G2. I am G2. This is episode 240 of the podcast. And the first thing I would like to do is ask every single one of you, whether you're a new listener or a returning listener, how are you doing? I'm hoping everyone had a lovely week. I'm hoping you guys had a lovely 2 great week. If you did not, I hope that this upcoming week will be better for you. I hope that the momentum that you go into this week will carry you and just get bigger. That's what I'm hoping for everybody this week. And also, I want everyone to also know, please do not stress yourself out. Stress is a silent killer. I say this every episode, and I really do mean this. I don't want people to stress out over things that they cannot control. Only take care of things that is in your wheelhouse, things that you can manage, and don't worry about all the other things that is out of your control. Because once you do that, you start becoming stressed. And as I said, stress is a silent killer. It can lead to a lot of mental stuff going on with you. And also, if you're in physical pain already, adding stress onto top of that isn't going to help you recover any faster. So once again, don't overstress yourself out. Don't overthink anything, and just try to enjoy yourself and handle one problem day by day, or problem by problem, if you will. So with me saying all of that, I want to move over to the National Food Days of the week. Today being August the 10th, it is Banana Split Day as well as S'mores Day. August the 11th will be Raspberry Tart Day as well as Panini Day. August 12th will be Julienne Fries Day. August 13th will be Filet Mignon Day. August 14th will be Creamsicle Day. August 15th will be Lemon Meringue Pie Day. August 16th, to round us out, will be Bratwurst Day as well as Rum Day. So if you do drink any adult beverages like rum, please be responsible on that day and drink responsible. Now, with the National Food Days have concluded, now it's time for me to move over into the condolences part of the show here. And I would like to give condolences to Jim Lovell. He died at the age of 97. He was the Apollo 13 commander. NASA Administrator Sean Duffy was said in a statement that Lovell died Thursday in Lake Forest, Illinois. Duffy praised Lovell's life and work, saying he inspired millions of people. Duffy will say that Jim's character and steadfast courage helped our nation reach the moon and turned a potential tragedy into a success from which we learned an enormous amount. Lovell was the command module pilot for 1968's Apollo 8 mission. That was the first to carry humans to the moon and back, though it did not land on the lunar surface. And Apollo 13, he was commander for that. And Apollo 13 is known as a successful failure. That was the spacecraft that experienced an oxygen tank explosion that happened thousands of miles from Earth, but somehow the astronauts were still managed to return safely back to Earth. And if I'm not mistaken, they did a movie on this. I remember I believe it was 9th grade. My science teacher put this on for us to watch. It was like one of those easy days. And I would pop in and out on that, but they did make a movie about it. So it had to make something of importance. But yeah, I mean, if he was the guy that was commanding it and he was able to get those astronauts back to Earth after a spacecraft tank explode, but the astronauts were able to make it back, I mean, you got to give them some type of credit for it, right? But to live 97, that's almost close to 100. I mean, I would think you had to live a nice, decent life. But again, I don't know too much about the astrophysicist world, so I'm not going to dive into that part. But love and condolences to everyone that worked with him, everyone that studied under him or studied his works. And I hope that his co-workers or people that learned under him took the news in stride, because again, he was 97 Like, what more can you do? But again, condolences to Jim Lovell, and I'm hoping that everyone that worked with him takes it easy. Now, with the condolence out of the way, I want to move over into the news. And first things first, I want to talk about the weather and what's going down in California. California, they've been hit with their second fire of 2025. I remember the first fire happened, if not late December 2024, early January 2025. There was a big wildfire that happened in California, and now they're being hit with another one. They would say that a massive Southern California wildfire has reached mega fire status and has become the state's largest inferno of 2025. They will say it's fueled by nearly triple-digit heat, dry bone conditions, and inaccessible terrain. The Griffith fire has exploded in size since igniting along Highway 166 1 week ago. It has burned more than 104,000 acres, larger than the city of Atlanta, and is only 21% contained, according to the California Fire. This is all coming at the time of me recording this episode right now. This is still an ongoing thing. They said that like thousands of people have evacuated. They've been forced to evacuate it, to be more precise. But California, they got hit again, and it's not shocking to me per se. I've said this every single year. California, somehow, some way, you could always bet, and if this was a thing to bet on in Vegas, you can bet California is going to have some type of fire in summertime. Without any type of failure, it has always been that way. I think I started picking up on this like when I actually left school. You know, I'm not talking about college neither. I'm talking about actually high school, when I actually had the time to look at the news and pay attention to the news. Without fail, California always gets hit with some type of fire in the summer. I'm not certain if the summer is ending for people in California. I'm not certain how the school's happening there. I usually call summer over when the kids are back in school and now they're back to doing work. The parents got it back to become a parent full time now, instead of just being with the kids like that. But that's what I call summer being over. Whenever the kids are back inside, yes, the weather might be hot a little bit outside, but summer's over by that time. But without fail, California is always going to have a fire. Without fail, no matter, every single year. That's something that you can bank on. This one, it just happens to burn a lot. And I am hoping that people didn't make it out. I'm hoping that people have some type of insurance on their houses in California. I know what a rapper, Vince Staples, talked about how some of the insurances over there, if you were buying a house, just started to recently, the policies started to turn, and they weren't really like giving you insurance on your homes if some type of natural disaster was going to occur, which I found very weird. He said this on the Joe Budden podcast, like, I want to say if not a year ago, like 2 years ago. And that always stuck out to me because he's a California guy. And California is known for having earthquakes. They're known for having fires. And you mean to tell me you're not going to try to have insurance, or the insurance people are going to try to like not give that to you guys? That was very, very odd to me. And it made me think, why wouldn't anyone want to move to California if that's the case? But people are there. But I hope that the people that were grandfathered into these policies and they actually do have something on their homes, I hope that they are able to get those policies. They're able to rebuild their homes somewhere away from California. But all in all, I hope human life hasn't been taken out by this wildfire that has been occurring in California. And again, it's just started, or at least it's just been reported to have started, but it's taken out a nice chunk of land over there. So right now there has been no human casualties so far reported, and I'm hoping that it continues that way. But this is so far the earliest or the latest that I do have on this fire topic. If anything else comes up about it, I'll try to bring it back to you guys, whether it be on Wednesday's episode or next Sunday about it. And also something that just happened early on Saturday. They will say that a 17-year-old has been arrested after allegedly shooting 3 people in Times Square. The incident occurred at approximately 1:20 a.m. They say that there was a 17-year-old suspect got involved in a dispute with a 19-year-old before shots were fired, according to the New York Police Department. They say 3 people were shot. There was a 19-year-old male who was shot in his right foot, a 65-year-old male that was hit in the left leg, and an 18-year-old female who was grazed in the neck. All of the victims were taken to Bellevue Hospital, where they remain in stable condition, the NYPD said. Authorities said it is unclear what the dispute was about and if the victims and the suspect are known to each others. So that's all they got right now. They say charges are pending and an investigation into the shooting remains open. So that comes to no surprise for me at all. I mean, it comes to a surprise that something like this happened again in New York after what? If not last week, 2 weeks ago, they had someone trying to go into one of the buildings in New York and try to go up into the NFL offices and do something. And ultimately that person did cause some casualties. People did pass away. He ended up turning the weapon on himself and self-transitioning there. I don't know how people are allowed just to walk around in New York, especially in Times Square vicinity, to just have a weapon on them. I don't know how that's able to be. Again, with everything going on, I'm surprised there hasn't been like metal detectors or something really just stationed around in Times Square. I mean, like in every corner or something that you just gotta walk under or something like that, because dude, something's got to be done. We're entering a place where it just become normal to hear about a shooting in this place, a shooting in that place, a shooting in another spot. Which, by the way, before I get into the university shooting, I've got to give an update on the Montana bar incident that happened last week, and there's an update on that story that I talked about Sunday. But something has to be done with people just doing something, and shots are just ringing out. I don't know what it is, but something has to be done. But yeah, this story just happened as well. More information has probably been out, because by the time I'm recording this is all the information that they have. By the time this episode drops, there's probably more information about the 17-year-old and what actually happened at that Times Square area early Saturday morning, but we will see. If not, check in Wednesday. I'm pretty sure there's probably more information that's going to be out, and I might have it up there for you on Wednesday's episode of the Midweek Breakdown, but we'll see. Now, moving on to the update story that I was talking about here. Last week, I mentioned that there was a shooting that happened in Montana inside of a bar. 4 people were fatally shot, meaning that they're no longer here, and that the suspect was Michael Brown. He was on the loose. He was evading the cops at the time. He has been arrested now. They have arrested him. They say that Michael Brown has been on the run since the biggest shooting in the state of Montana in the decade. The suspect was armed when he was arrested around 2 p.m. local time Friday, about 5.5 miles away from the shooting scene, and is now in the custody of the police there. So I'm happy that they actually did pick up Michael Brown, and that he didn't do any damage to anybody while he was out. If he did, I'm pretty sure they would have found something or heard something. So I'm just going to go off of good faith saying that he didn't do nothing to no one else. Last Sunday, I mentioned in the news reports that they said that Michael Brown was a former vet, and they don't know if he snapped or anything here. I hope that they do some type of evaluation on him to see if he's sane in the brain so he can actually stand trial for this. But if he isn't, well, they gotta figure something else out with this, because I think there is something to say whenever military people come back and they're not all the way there, because again, you don't know what someone has seen, what they didn't see. You don't know what type of abuse they took while they were in those government fraternities, if you will. But I hope that they do some type of evaluation on Mr. Brown here, and we find out if he's able to stand whenever the charges, and more than likely a trial is going to happen for this guy. But we'll wait and see with that. On to the next thing, which happens to be another shooting, which was written by The Independent. In an article, they will say that police have identified the suspected gunman who killed a police officer in a shooting near the Emory University campus in Atlanta, Georgia on Friday. The suspected gunman who opened fire and struck the CDC building near Emory has been identified as a 30-year-old Patrick White, the gunman who was found dead in the CVS, though officials don't know whether that was from the officers or was self-inflicted, Atlanta Police Chief said Friday. They will also confirm the officer who died in the line of duty. His name was David Rose. He was a 33-year-old who was a father of 3 with a third on the way. Right now, they are saying that police are working on the theory that the CDC was the shooter's target, who blamed his illness on the COVID-19 vaccine, a law enforcement official told CNN. That's still nuts. That's nuts, man. You're 30, if I'm not wrong. This guy was 30. Now, you caught COVID. How bad was it for you? I don't know, but it seems that COVID is something everyone can get over unless you are completely just like old and you had like some medical issues that plagued you beforehand. But if you catch COVID now, it seems to be like the common cold. You get it, you might be weary one day or a couple hours, but you'll be fine and perk up probably the next day. That's the way that COVID has been seen now compared to 2020. Because when COVID was happening in 2020, everyone was scared. Everyone felt that was like, okay, you're about to die. It's not that way now. So for Mans to do this, again, this is just a theory that they have. They're going to try to work on this theory. An investigation is ongoing about this right now. But for the theory right now to be that this guy blamed the COVID-19 vaccine for his, what they say, illness, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, blame his illness on COVID-19 vaccine. I don't know, man. I don't know as I said, I don't know what's going down in this world that we are living in. I just think certain people are just plain out stupid, or they spend a lot of time on the internet and they fall down a rabbit hole about things and they just stay in those rabbit holes, which turn into an obsession, and then you know what happens next. So I don't know what the deal is. I'm hoping that they would say that no one inside the building and no civilians were killed in this stupidness. So I'm happy about that. I do find it unfortunate that a police officer did pass away, even though they know whenever they wear the uniform and take this job, you know, certain things might happen just on a random given day. And today, or that day, just happened to be the random day for one unlucky police officer. I feel sorry for his kids and also the kid that's on the way. They'll never be able to meet their father. I feel sorry for all the children. But yeah, we are really living in a real crazy time right now. And I hope it just gets better, but I highly doubt it. Anyway, off of that, now I want to move over into Trump news. And usually when I do this, I usually have to put this little marker just to let everyone know this. What I'm about to say is thoughts and opinions of G2, no one else's. I have no political allegiance to any party, Republican or Democrat, left, right. I don't care about any of that. I really don't. All the thoughts that I'm about to say come from me and me only. Just like in episodes previously, topics previously, all thoughts come from me. So just want to get that right out the way, right out the woodwork right now. First thing I would like to talk about with Trump, but more specifically his Trump administration, to be honest with you, is that his administration has doubled up a award on the head of Venezuela's president because they want him to face U.S. drug charges. And right now they have a reward for the Venezuela's president for $50 million for the arrest of him. Associated Press will say that the Trump administration is doubling the $50 million reward for the arrest of Venezuela's president, Nicolas Maduro, accusing him of being one of the world's largest narco traffickers and working with cartels to flood the U.S. with fentanyl-laced cocaine. Attorney General Pam Bondi said Thursday, under President Trump's leadership, Maduro will not escape justice and he will be held accountable for his despicable crimes. Maduro was indicted in Manhattan federal court in 2020 during the first Trump presidency, along with several close allies on federal charges of narco-terrorism and conspiracy to import cocaine. At the time, the U.S. offered a $15 million reward for his arrest. That will later be risen to $25 million during the Biden administration. That was the same amount the U.S. offered for the capture of Osama bin Laden during the 9/11 attacks. So now they have decided to bump it up more to $50 million. Maduro still remains just not in the capture of the United States or anyone else, because if they were to grab him, it would have been done. But nope, he's still good. I don't know what the deal is. I understand that Trump's whole thing is they're trying to, quote unquote, make America great again and all these other things, but I don't see how this is going to work, because if you didn't get them during your first presidency, you didn't get them during Biden's presidency. So let's mark this. Trump's presidency was 4 years. Biden's presidency was 4 years. That's 8. You're going to try this again with yours. He has eluded you guys for 8 years now, but all right, we'll see how this goes. They will say that the Justice Department has seized more than $700 million in assets that's linked to Maduro, which includes 2 private jets that they say had nearly 7 tons of seized cocaine that's been traced directly towards Maduro. But I just don't see how this is going to work. If that cocaine was that much and it was linked to him, and you have other people kind of backing this and wanting him to be arrested, because they said that Maduro has remained entrenched after defying the U.S., the European Union, and several Latin American governments. I don't know what to tell you. If he has been that elusive and he has that many bad people, not bad people, but just bad relationships with other governments, you would think you would have grabbed him by now. But no, he hasn't been grabbed. I don't see them grabbing him at all no time soon. I just think this right here was to let people know that, hey, we're trying to, once again, make America great, get things out of the country, try to place blame onto somebody. And I mean, if it was able to be linked back to him, hey, it is what it is. But what I would like to know is, what you guys going to do with those 2 planes? Those 2 private jets? What you guys going to do with that? What are you guys going to do with that much cocaine? I do not trust that in the hands of the government. I don't trust that at all. I think that, and again, I don't pay too much attention to this, but too many people have talked about the era in the black community where they always say that Ronald Reagan poisoned the black community, brought crack into the black community, all that type of stuff. So with black people having that type of knowledge, and again, this is free knowledge right here for everyone. It's just that I haven't done the backtracking of that with Ronald Reagan and crack era because I didn't live through it, and also my people didn't go through that. So no disrespect, I'm just gonna keep it a buck with you guys and tell you guys the whole truth of why I haven't really searched into that. But with that being the talk, and with me having that type of knowledge just because of people talking about it like that, I'm already skeptical of the government having things that they're not supposed to. Because if you guys seize that, and they just said they seized more than $700 million in his assets, and they only just named 2 private jets and cocaine, what else of his does the government have that they haven't listed out? Again, it just makes me think, but just with the drugs alone right there, 7 tons of it that's been seized, I don't know what you guys are going to do with that. Burn it, that'd be great, but people aren't going to do that. People are going to take some away from that, from what they can, and say they burn it or whatever, but I just don't trust the government with it. I don't trust the government with drugs in their possessions because they can do whatever they want with it. I don't trust it, but long story less long here, you guys aren't going to find this guy. You guys are not going to be able to apprehend this guy unless, what? You guys come up with a coup to get this guy away from Venezuela. But I don't see it happening. I don't see you guys grabbing him. But we'll see what happens there. But for you guys to offer $50 million for the arrest of Venezuela's president, that's pretty funny to me. It is. But we'll see where we go with this. Next up, still in the Trump administration here, CBS News will write about how the Trump administration has threatened to take Harvard's patents. Now, I am interested in this. In an article, they will say that the federal government told Harvard University on Friday it could take control of the school's patents stemming from federal funded research, the latest in a months-long feud between the Trump administration and the Ivy League college. The Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick is launching an immediate, comprehensive review of whether Harvard has complied with federal laws around patents, he said in a letter to Harvard president. The patents in question could be worth hundreds of millions of dollars, a senior administration official said in his letter. Lutnick threatened to grant third-party licenses to Harvard's patents or take the titles to any patents where Harvard has failed to comply with government title and disclosure requirements. So Trump is trying to, or should I say his administration is trying to, again, bully and thug Harvard out. And I'm pretty sure Harvard's like one of the big Ivy League schools or big colleges that hasn't buckled their knees or dropped to their knees for what the Trump administration is trying to tell them to do. So right now they're trying to see if they could take the patents away from Harvard, which I think that will start a domino effect later down the line, because patents are one thing, because you got people doing research at these colleges. And again, the researchers can be different things. They could be building stuff like buildings or building electrical equipment or whatever it is. And Harvard's one of those big schools that you can get a patent for something if it happens to have legs and it has a future to be improved upon. You can get Harvard to help you patent it out, or you can do whatever it is with Harvard to patent whatever device that you made while you were at Harvard. But I feel that Harvard will still get a piece of the pie from it. But that's opening up the doors if you do that, if the Trump administration is able to do it. Because you got to think of this as well. If a patent is able to be grabbed and they're able to take that, imagine how many people's medical works has been or is going to be the next thing that they try to take. Because there's people in those universities. It doesn't have to just be Harvard. It could be any university out there. People have to write capstones to get out of college, to say that you earn your degree, to say that you understand what you studied. And there's people that have to do capstones on whatever they like. But if you are nerdy, not to say nerdy, but big brained and really meticulous, people that are in the medical field, people that are in those fields that you really do research like that, they write these big old papers and they talk about what they're doing or talk about what they're planning on doing down the line. And those works, I don't know if people know this or not, those works stay in the university. And the university technically has that control over what you wrote because you wrote it for the university, so that the university technically has some type of stock in the game. So if you happen to want to use your work that you did while you were in college, you have to cite that college. You have to cite your work that you did while you were in college, and that can lead to colleges, again, taking a piece or getting a piece for what you did. The only reason how I know about this is because, again, I did a capstone. Again, anybody that went to college that graduated with something, you had to have made a capstone. And I didn't know that the colleges are able to retain your works until I went back for my second degree, and I wanted to reference and I wanted to update my previous work. And my my professor at the time said that I cannot plagiarize myself, which was weird. And then I looked more into it and I said, oh, so you guys have me in y'all database. Y'all have my previous thing in the database, which was crazy to me. But yes, they have that in there. And that's just, again, that's something to just marvel at. But colleges, again, they already make money off they're going to be able to make money off of your works. Unless you have a good type of lawyer or something to take away. But anyway, getting back to this. If Harvard is going to have their patents be ripped away from them by the government, imagine what's next. Imagine the Trump administration going to be able to say, oh yeah, all your works that your people have done, whether it be your professors that wrote books at the universities or your students that have wrote these capstones or these other things, those are now going to be free use to the rest of the world. Imagine the type of money that you're taking away from Harvard, and imagine the type of money that you're going to basically tell or possibly be able to take away from all the other colleges. Because again, the other colleges will see this and be like, yo, what are you doing? What is the government doing? They're going to try to make you really play ball and really make you bend to their will, bend to their request, or whatever the case may be. And I think that this patent thing is just the first step to it. Because if they're able to get it, best believe your works is next. Students' works, they're next in the whole college field. So again, this is real interesting to me. I would like to see how this is going to play out and how far they're going to go about it. Will this go into the courts, or will Harvard bend the knee? Again, this is interesting to me just because of what I know I had to do in that and my knowledge of it. This is it just fascinates me to see where we're going with this particular thing right here. But yeah, that's, again, Trump and Harvard still bumping heads, and we'll see who comes out on top on this particular situation. Trump's not done yet. Trump's administration, more specifically, isn't done yet. They're beefing with UCLA, and according to CNN, because they were writing an article about it, Trump's administration is seeking a $1 billion settlement from UCLA. They would say the Trump administration is seeking a $1 billion settlement from UCLA, marking the latest effort by the White House to shape higher education and extract significant concessions from universities. Last week, the Trump administration began freezing millions in funding to UCLA, with the school's chancellor, Julio Frank, saying in a letter to the university community this week that $584 million is suspended and at risk, and warning of devastating consequences to its research. Officials from UCLA have returned to the negotiating table, a source familiar with the matter said, and have made clear they would like to reach a deal to restore that funding. Who would have thought? The Trump administration, in turn, is laying its marker for a higher dollar settlement. The University of California president responded to the proposed deal in a statement Friday afternoon, saying that the school is reviewing the document from the Department of Justice, but casting the settlement figure as a non-starter that would devastate the university. Earlier this week, we offered to engage in good faith dialogue with the department to protect the university and its critical research mission. As a public university, we are stalwarts of taxpayer resources, and a payment of the scale would completely devastate our country's greatest public university system, as well as inflict great harm on our students and all Californians. A draft of a proposed agreement was sent to the school on Friday and obtained by CNN. It requires UCLA to pay the federal government $1 billion over multiple installments, along with a $172 million claim fund for people impacted by violations of Title VII of the Civil Rights Act, which prohibits employment discrimination based on race, color, religion, sex, or national origin. The agreement the administration is proposing, which if agreed to would mark the biggest settlement it's received from a higher education institution, requires a resolution monitor to oversee the school, as well as a new senior administrator who will be focused on compliance with anti-discrimination laws. The proposed agreement prohibits overnight demonstrations and calls on the school to revise its policy and procedures on protests. It also requires UCLA to discontinue race and ethnicity-based scholarships and provide the resolution monitor with administration's data. So, again, this is another one of Trump trying to make another school bow down, kiss the ring, and everything else. I don't know what to say about this, man. I don't know. Again, we are in some times, and it's all up to schools wanting to do it or not. Dude, that's sick. First, you're freezing UCLA's money, and I believe it was $540 some odd that you're possibly freezing that funding. And now you're asking for them to pay you $1 billion over multiple installments, because no one has $1 billion just sitting in their desk. And then you're asking for more money after that. Dude, I don't know what's going on with everything. I don't know how bad these colleges and universities has pissed off people inside the Trump administration. I don't know what the deal is, but that's insane. This is just a power trip, a big ego power trip, man. And again, anyone that's a student at UCLA, I hope you guys can try to get what you guys can get and talk to all your professors and everyone that's supposed to help you guys out and try to see what's going on. Because if the money freezes, I guarantee you the teachers are going to be willing to spill their guts, because they don't know if they're going to get paid or not. They don't know if what's going to get cut from their situation or not. And again, when people that are in position, teachers of that magnitude, don't know what's going to happen to them, they're going to be freely to start talking about what is actually happening and how things are wrong and all the inner workings of things. They'll at least start letting loose of that. So talk to the people that you're supposed to talk to about this. I do feel bad for, again, all the college students, whether you're in Harvard or you're in UCLA. Things, again, are getting wicked. Things are twisting up. And I will keep my eyes on this because, again, the patent situation with Harvard and Trump administration, that will open up a lot of doors if that happens. And the money deal for UCLA and Trump administration, that, again, is going to be interesting to see if they will pay that money towards them. Now, moving off of Trump, now on to the U.S. Air Force. The Associated Press will write up an article about them. The title would read, U.S. Air Force to deny retirement pay to transgender service members being separated from the service. The article would read, the U.S. Air Force said Thursday it would deny all transgender service members who have served between 15 and 18 years the option to retire early, and would instead separate them without retirement benefits. One Air Force sergeant said he was betrayed and devastated by the move. The move means that transgender service members will now be faced with the choice of either taking a lump sum separation payment offered to junior troops or be removed from the service. An Air Force spokesperson told the Associated Press that although service members with 15 to 18 years of honorable service were permitted to apply for an exception to policy, none of the exceptions to policy were approved. About a dozen service members had been prematurely notified that they would be able to retire before that decision was reversed, according to the spokesperson who spoke on condition of anonymity to discuss internal Air Force policy. A memo was issued Monday announcing the new policy, which was reviewed by the Associated Press, said that the choice to deny retirement benefits was made after careful consideration of the individual applications. All transgender members of the Air Force are being separated from the service under the Trump administration policies. Separation process has hit some bumps. The move comes after the Pentagon was given permission in early May by the Supreme Court to move forward with a ban on all transgender troops serving in the military. Okay. So, that's nasty work. Again, I don't understand people in the service, whether you're Air Force, military, Navy, all these type of divisions in the military or in the line of service, right? I don't understand their ideology when it comes down to someone either transitioning or wanting to transition, all that type of stuff. I don't get your infatuation with that. Only thing that you should be infatuated with is trying to get more people in doing public service like this. Get people to joining your causes and joining these government institutions. That's what you should be interested in. Not interested in the sexual nature or the sexual preference of one of your members in your already institution. Because as everything's going now, you need all the willing participants that you need, just in case if crap kicks up and we actually have to do some type of battle with another country. It's not right and is not fair to the people that did serve the 15, 18 years. You're telling people that if they are transitioning or if they identified as the opposite sex than what they were originally born, you're telling them, hey, we appreciate you for doing the 15 to 18 years. We appreciate all that. But here's the deal. We're going to pay you a lump sum, or you could just freely walk away. You're not going to get your retirement benefits. We're not going to do that because of your whole transitioning or that whole business. We're not going to do it because of that. That's just complete stupidity. That's dumb. I don't understand the thought process behind it. I would love for someone in a position of power to really break it down to me, and I mean to the point that everyone understands why you're doing it. Break it down to me that way. Break it down to me the actual whys. why you can't do it, why just morally you can't do it. You know how people say racism is bad, and people are actually able to break down the actual reasons why racism is bad? I want you to break down to me why you can't give these people that serve their time for this country, for those allotted years that you need to get retirement and get those benefits for it. I want you to break it down to me why you're not giving it to those people just because of their sexual nature or sexual nature and who they are and what they prefer to be. I would like for you to really break that down to me, because this just looks and sounds and reads extremely crappy and extremely stupid, and you're just going to make people not want to serve, which at this point, I'm not certain that people want to serve anyway. I know there's going to be people that's going to want to serve their country one way or another, but I just want people to know there's still people in those fraternities. Again, I call those fraternities, but they're government issued or institution fraternities. There's people in there that wanted to join, and there's people that's in there that had no other choice but to join because of outside things. But you shouldn't be trying to discourage people from going into there just because of their gender and all that type of stuff. You shouldn't be doing all that. But again, we'll see what happens there. Hopefully they will reverse it, but we'll see with more time. Now, sticking in the government institution fraternities, we had an incident this Wednesday on an army base in Georgia. They will say that a soldier was accused of opening fire at an army base in Georgia, wounding 5 people. They will say that this soldier had endured ruthless bullying over his stuttering almost as soon as he joined the military. Former co-worker said, this is coming from ABC News, Sergeant Cornelius Radford, who's 28, was picked on during roughly 2 months in 2018. He spent at the Army's Advanced Individual Training School at Fort Lee in Virginia, according to 2 people who served with him there, one of which was Sergeant Cameron Barrett, who's 28. He was become friends with Radford during that time. He would say that he got bullied a lot. It was very bad to the point where he could barely talk. Barrett said people would mock Radford by also pretending to have a stutter. He said the apparent speech impediment was a trigger for Radford, who endured the mocking by being silent. Still, Radford showed no signs of anger, resentment, or deeper issues, Barrett and other fellow soldiers said, and to those who got to know him, the reserved Radford shared a goofier and playful side, they said. So when the shooting occurred that Wednesday morning, it came to a complete shock to them. Reports of the active shooter on the base first surfaced. Barrett said he sent Radford a message on Snapchat asking if he was okay. Radford did not respond. Hours later, Army officials identified Radford as the man suspected of using his personal handgun to allegedly shoot 5 of his co-workers shortly before 11 a.m. They would say the wounded soldiers were in stable condition Wednesday and are expected to recover. 3 of the victims were released from the hospital on Wednesday, and 2 more, both were women, were still being treated on that Thursday. They say it's unclear whether the victims were subordinates or superiors of Radford. Army officials said in a motive was unclear as the investigation is ongoing. So right now they have no idea, but I would just say it was probably bullying and probably something in the mind of Radford just snapped off. Because if you got a speech impediment and you have stuttering as that speech impediment, you're going to get some people bullying you. And I'm pretty sure Radford experienced that in his life in the school system. And then coming into this government institution fraternity, I'm pretty sure he probably thought, okay, I'll be able to get away from that, probably get some brotherhood or something from this that I didn't get from the general population. And then when you go in there and you experience the bullying there, I'm pretty sure it set something off of him that made him think about some things. And bullying's going to happen either way. People taunting you is going to happen either way. And I think this probably would have just been a moment for him. I remember in one of the articles that I did read, right now they're declining on mentioning if Radford asked for a transfer because a family member did come out, and I don't remember who the family member was, but it struck me saying that Radford did want to transfer and did make mention that he did like say, hey, I want to be transferred out of here. And one of the family members mentioned it because Radford would talk to said family member about his time there, and if something's not right, you got to go to someone to confide into, and family is always the best policy or best people to go to. So again, the Army officials, they have declined mentioning anything about that. I'm pretty sure they're going to have to. And if that was the case and they knew about it, they should have just sent my man about his way, sent my man to do his own thing. But they did not. They were cool with people doing this to Radford, which is dumb. I think that is completely stupid. I know certain people might say he's an adult, he should be able to fight back or whatever. Listen, certain people are not going to be confrontational like that. Certain people aren't built like that to be confrontational when someone is messing with them. Certain people just like to hold it in until they can't take it no more, and then we get situations like this. Thankfully, no one was dead, so he'll probably get hit with 5 attempted murders, if anything, about along those lines. But no one died in here, so that's the positive thing here. But again, this still got to be answered for. Yes, Radford's going to have to face the actions for what he did, but the people that were told about this, and again, this is all alleged, if they were told that Radford wants to be moved out and they didn't do nothing about this, they are to blame for this. Because if you have, and I'm going to put this in the real easiest term or easiest thing for people to understand. If you have a kid and your kid comes to you telling you a problem about the school, it is now up to you as a parent to bring this to the school and handle this with the school. And if you, the parent, bring this to the school and the school is supposed to do something about it, but they don't, and a physical altercation happens between your child and the person that's messing with your child, it's on the school. And it's on the person that was the aggressor in the situation. But I say it's more on the school because they are the adults in the situation. They know what they're supposed to do. They know how to separate these people. They know how to separate the students. They know what they're supposed to do. They know they're supposed to look out for the students. That would be on the students. That would, not students, but that would fall on the school for not taking care of the issue. And for this, again, this is all alleged until paperwork comes out or some type of documentation has come out to say that Radford did talk to officials saying, yo, I want to be moved. If those papers ever do come out, the people that got shot, I feel they could possibly sue the Army. They could sue them for not looking after them. They could sue them for basically getting shot because you guys didn't move this guy out of here because he wanted to be moved. So again, Radford, he's going to have to answer for what he did, but the people in charge are going to have to answer for it too. If, again, paperwork ever does come out and it says that Radford did want to be moved. But right now, Radford did something, and the people that he did shoot, they're all going to be fine. They're all living, so that's good. But we'll wait and see what happens there. Anything else that I do have to talk about? I believe that's everything, to be honest with you. So without wasting any more of your time, it is now time for me to get you guys out of here. I would like to thank everybody for listening to this program. I would like to thank all the podcasting sites for putting it out there, whether it be Apple, Amazon, Spotify, Podbean, iHeart, or any other podcasting site out there. I want to thank them, because without them, I wouldn't be able to get this podcast out to you guys, downloaders and listeners. So I would like to thank these podcasting sites, but also not so far behind, I would like to thank you guys, the downloaders and listeners, for just listening to me talk about the news topics that happened this week and give my opinions on it. And I appreciate it, whether you're in your car, in the gym, or just listen to it in your background noise at your home. I appreciate everybody just taking the time out your day just to listen to me just talk. And I hope you guys took something away from it, whether it be a news topic or my opinion on some news topic, or what I said earlier about not stressing out. I hope you guys take something away from this and apply it, or ask people about it. That's what I do hope. Now, with that stated, always remember,
I love you, I love you, I love you. I love you, I love you, I love you.
I do love you all. That is not a gimmick. That is me 100% being honest with every single one of you. I want everyone to have a great week. I want everyone to also remember, you'll hear from me again on my Wednesday episode, which is the midweek breakdown episode. If you like professional wrestling, I have 2 wrestling episodes that I do every single week. Thursdays, my Let's Have a Chat series, where I just talk about professional wrestling and just talk about any and everything about it. And on my Saturday episodes, I talk about professional wrestling, but in the arena of mentioning the highlights that came out from WWE, AEW, or TNA, and their whole weekly programming that aired that week. And I find fascinating out of that. And as per usual, my Sunday episodes, I drop every Sunday and I talk about the news topics that happened this week, and I give my opinions on it. So that's what to look for this upcoming week. I want everyone to be courteous to one another. I want everyone to be kind to one another. If you come across someone that might just be looking sad, just flash them a smile. I'm not saying you have to talk to them. Just flash them a smile, because that lets them know that you at least acknowledge their existence, and that could do wonders for them. If they give you a hello, give them a hello back. Because again, you don't know what someone's going through. They might just need that smile. They might just need that hello. And again, things can turn out best for them. And giving someone a smile, giving someone a hello is free of charge. It doesn't cost you anything to do that, so why not? And again, just be courteous to everyone. Don't be a dick, because you don't know what someone is dealing with. You don't know what someone is dealing with or doing, and they might just really be in a bad spot, and you doing these courteous things can just make the world for them. So just try to be, again, on your best behavior for everybody. All right? So with that stated, this has been the My 2 Cents Podcast, presented by and hosted by G2. I am G2. He is I and I am him. This isn't goodbye. This is until you hear from the sweet sound of voice again, and you will hear me again on those episodes, whichever one you want to listen to. So with that all being said, Kanye, could you please take these people home?
I'm tired, you tired, Jesus wept.